a secret code.
You'll love this. Brian Allan.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Well, first, Brian Allan, who, he, yeah, why am I standing here? Well, basically, I've been researching the subject of the paranormal for the past 40 years on and off, hands-on for the past 12, and my wife and I in Scotland, we started off by running an organisation called SPI, which is Strange Phenomena Investigations, which was actually founded by Malcolm Robinson in 1979. Malcolm runs it from England, his end in England, we look after the Scottish end, and last year, at my wife's suggestion I might add, we started up another organisation called PEG, or Paranormal Encounter Groups, and we started up this organisation for the simple reason that we were asked about people whose cases we attended, people who had been traumatised by various phenomena in their life, be it extraterrestrial, inverted commas, or be it paranormal, inverted commas, but they'd all been traumatised for some particular reason, by possession. People had been possessed, or they thought their houses were possessed, or they were possessed, and they'd nowhere to go. That's what it amounted to. They'd nowhere to go, nobody to talk to, except people that came round and tried to help them. So my wife suggested that why don't we set up a contact group that, as well as carrying out investigations and as well as carrying out active help, we give them somewhere to get together and talk. They can share their traumas, share their experiences with people who have had very similar experiences themselves. And that is why we set up PEG. The website is www.p-e-g.co.uk. PEG, Paranormal Encounter Groups, p-e-g.co.uk, all lowercase. That's why I'm standing here. I've also worked, a little bit of a CV, I've also worked with BBC TV, ITV, Polish television, Discovery Channel, History Channel, Science Channel, BBC Radio, and various independent radio groups as well. Now, the title of this presentation, which is upside down, that's probably my fault. Yeah, back to front, yeah. That is the paranormal bit, yeah. Good, that's a good start. Science and the paranormal, because it's a strange title to give the presentation, because basically science and the paranormal seem to be diametrically opposed concepts, but lo and behold, they're actually not. And as we'll see in the course of this presentation, they're more closely linked than we think, and that the proof is coming up all the time through various aspects of it. So, from the outset, I'm going to tell you, don't believe a word that I tell you. I don't want you to want to believe anything that I'm telling you. I don't want you to take anything that I'm saying at face value. I want you to go out, I want you to check it. See if I'm telling the truth or not. I think you'll find that I am. Because nothing I'm going to tell you today, apart from case histories I might add, because they are fundamental to the lecture, but what I'm going to tell you is checkable, it's provable. It's provable in terms of physics, and I'm talking about quantum physics. It's provable, okay? So I'm not going to tell you anything in a scientific term that is not provable, okay? And it's through provable science that I've come to accept the existence of an afterlife, because I know there is one. But apart from having seen it, apart from having touched it, smelt it, felt it, been touched by it, I happen to know there is, because quantum physics tells me there's an afterlife. And hopefully by the end of this presentation today, you're going to believe that perhaps quantum physics is going to tell you this the same sort of thing. Yes, this is really good. Okay. Another thing that I'd like to get off my chest first is the stance of the media relating to serious paranormal research. Broadcasting regulations do not allow the presentation of an afterlife as scientific proof. But the same media, every Sunday, they'll trot out people singing hymns, salutations to some theoretically God, some theoretical God that's up there. Can he prove it? No, they can't prove it, not a thing. They can't prove the existence of a God any more than you can prove the existence of the paranormal or extraterrestrials. But by Jove, the media, what they'll put out as being fact, and it's not a fact. There's no factual proof of a God, not a bit. So if you can start from that premise and see that the case for the paranormal is every bit as convincing, if not more so, than the case for the existence of a God, then we'll actually start getting somewhere. Because the evidence is mounting and mounting and mounting and mounting that there is an afterlife. I'll go there, you'll all go there. Whether you want to or not, you'll go there with or without the help of a God. Okay? Once you pass over, all that happens is your consciousness changes state. Your consciousness is an electrochemical force. That's what it is. It changes state. Because there isn't a psychiatrist in this country can tell you the nature of consciousness. They don't know the nature of consciousness any more than I know the nature of consciousness. Because the mind is much more than some of its parts, or the brain. We should be more specific about that. The brain is far more than the sum of its parts. Now, returning to media regulations regarding proof of an afterlife, the only channel I've actually heard say this on a regular basis, that you cannot put this down as proof, is the Sci-Fi Channel. When they run down their various exposés of an afterlife, haunted houses, most this, most that, most the next thing, they will say right up front, there is no proof of this. It's up to you to make up your own mind. And they're covered. But the rest of them don't. They present it as an entertainment because that's the only way they can get around the broadcasters' regulations. If you didn't know that, you know that now. Because I'll be returning to it in some force, because I'm going to criticise heavily a couple of very popular, or one in particular, scientific programme that's put out by Living Television as being this is the afterlife, because it's not. And the people on it should be ashamed of themselves, and the psychic that takes part in it should be ashamed of himself as well. Anyway. Rant over, okay? There are, however, in the face. This is about slide 16, I think, but that's okay. That's okay. Is it? Yeah. Oh, okay. In that case, I've made a series of mistakes. So okay. So I can actually dance and sing when I'm doing this and trying to. So anyway, every program that comes out presenting proof of, or so-called proof of an afterlife, always has as its balance one of three experts who shall be nameless, because it's possibly litigious for me to say what I was going to say if I start mentioning names. And I'm not going to do it because my wife has prevailed on me to do it, because I regularly do it, and I've actually got to tell the people who are actually doing the filming, and please stop filming now, because I could be taken to court for what I'm going to say now. So I'm not going to do that, because I'll keep the tape running nice and smoothly. However, what I can say is that one of these professors of psychology, who is quite a clever man, if you can take the meaning of clever man to be wise. Anyway, he's going to create himself a haunted house, and he's going to do it with public money, university money, and he's going to set up this house where he can play with the temperatures, pressures, electromagnetic fields, and he's going to create a haunted house, he tells us. Whether he's done it or not, I don't know. Now, another person that is usually tied up with these demonstrations, or so-called demonstrations of psychic ability, is an American, what we call an entertainer. That's what he is. His name is James Randall Hamilton Zwinge, who sets himself up as James Randi, of course. James the Amazing, who should be the amusing Randy. But he sets himself up as some sort of paragon of psychop, whose existence is, of course, to prove the claims of the paranormal, and whose real existence is to disprove them, because they're debunkers. They are not skeptics. They'll tell you they're skeptics. They're not. They're debunkers, and a debunker wouldn't admit the truth if it crept up and bit them on the arse, quite frankly. They will just not admit the truth because it's not their interest to do so, because their paradigm would be wrecked, their career would be in tatters, because lo and behold, we've got an afterlife and there's the proof of it, but they're all saying there isn't. Anyway, that's very wicked of me. However, Mr. Randy and I engaged in a series of emails, and in the emails I said, look, you're telling me seriously that you have never ever seen anything in a sense of psychic research you couldn't explain? Oh yes, he said, I have, but I will eventually explain it. Now, Mr. Randy claims that his organisation will give $1 million to anyone that can come along And with him setting the parameters, and with him setting the goalposts, and can prove that psiability is a fact, they'll give them $1 million. And do you know what he hasn't got $1 million? Because that $1 million is an insurance policy. Check it up. Absolutely true. It's an insurance policy that will never be ever lifted, because he will make sure the parameters are adjusted so that it will never be lifted, ever. Anyway, modern researchers like Dr. Peter Fennick, Gary Schwartz, on the other hand, are completely the opposite. They have objective experiments that appear to prove the existence of genuine psi-abilities, that appear to prove that mediums are genuine, as Crookes and Lodge did at the end of the 19th, beginning of the 20th century. However, their conclusions do not suit the establishment, therefore their conclusions are rejected out of hand. And they say, well, you'll need to come up with better evidence than this, and they try it and it still gets rejected. So they're actually, their efforts are to naught, because Newtonian science does not like its tenets disturbed at all. And Newtonian science is rapidly running into serious problems, because their scientific brothers in the discipline of quantum science, in point of fact, are proven practically every day that Newtonian concepts are wrong, because the world at the quantum level is not the world at the physical level by any manner of means. The physics are different, the rules are different, and the laws are different. Now, before I leave this, there were two programs. One program's on fairly regular, one was a bit of a special. The program Most Haunted is a disgrace, because every time these people come on, have you ever seen Most Haunted live? You ever seen that? They should be playing the music from Rocky, da da da, and in they come, there's your Ghostbusters, in they come, and then, oh, what a great carry-on. There's everyone going, yeah, let's hear it for the Ghostbusters. Absolutely shameful. They are genuinely treating it as an entertainment. They trivialise a serious subject, and the result is nobody tends to believe it, apart from Derek Acora, whose Sam will be telling him things all about all sorts of people, which is very good for him.
Morecambe and Wise.
Eh?
They're the best adolescents, Morecambe and Wise.
They do a pretty good job of it, don't they? Yeah. Having said that, oddly enough, my wife suggested that we go and see Derek Acora up in Glasgow. I think, was it 18 months ago? Something like that. And it's a good stage show. But if you can be impartial about it, it's pretty good. Another thing about Most Haunted is if Fieldman. Did you see that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did anyone hear that? Dear me, what's that bloody... And the one that squeals on a regular basis, screams and runs out of the room. What's that all about? Serious research, yeah, sure. The other thing was the ultimate psychic challenge. Now this is the one, I think it's Kate Garraway hosted it. And on it was the amazing Randy. He was brought across, supposedly, they didn't call him James Randi, they gave him some sort of stupid name, and he was out there as being a, this is psychic from America, and now it says, oh Christ almighty, I said, it's Randy.
There was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music.